In Politics and Money today, Alexander Castellanos joins us now for a closer look at the election action, and wonderful to have you back on this election day.
Thanks for having me.
So what a difference the FBI can make. We now know that presidential contender Hillary Clinton has been cleared of any email scandals. We saw the market move, but what about the move among voters? Did it make a difference?
Yeah, I mean, could this election be any stranger? I mean, we're seeing the markets actually seem to react a lot more than the polls did. Pretty interesting. We just did a Bloomberg poll with Purple Strategies, and about 50% of people said this doesn't change their opinion at all. On the other hand, one of the best predictors of elections tends to actually be the gambling websites outside the U.S.
It is unbelievable. Those gambling sites really do make a difference.
They're very accurate, at least more so than most of the polls. And we saw Betfair, which is one of the big British gambling sites, and it gave a little bit of a bump, but not nearly as much of a volatility bump as the market.
What are the gambling sites saying about the election? Who wins?
So the gambling sites still have Hillary winning. They bumped to about 65% probability when Comey opened the investigation, but now that he's closed it, it's back up to around 80%, which is pretty solid for Hillary Clinton.
What about the independent voters? Have they been swayed at all? And could this make the difference for Donald Trump?
That's a great question. And independents, I mean, that's a huge part of what sways an election historically. And they do seem to be breaking for Hillary Clinton right now. But independents doesn't necessarily mean a win for the Republicans. I mean, in 2012, Romney won independents and still lost the election. So Donald Trump has a lot of work to do, and some independents better break for him a lot more than we've been seeing.
Word has it that Donald Trump will be covering a number of states today. So what does he need to do to close the deal, and what does Hillary Clinton need to do to close the deal?
That's a great question. One of the things that Hillary doesn't need to do that much. All she has to do really is win one of the big battleground states. If she wins Florida, which we're seeing a pretty strong Hispanic turnout in early voters, if these are those same Hispanics that feel that Trump called them rapists and whatnot, then they're probably not voting for Trump. And that could look good for Hillary Clinton. That would be all she'd have to do. Trump needs to win all these battleground states, but he also needs to flip a historically blue state. So you're seeing him out in Wisconsin and Michigan, and if he can flip one of those states and take all the battleground states, he's got a shot to 270.
Alexander, I think there's a lot of people out there very concerned about what happens the day after the election. Any indications?
So both of these candidates have historically high unfavorability ratings. No matter who we elect, we're going to have a candidate that's a lot of the nation's unhappy with. So they're going to have some serious bridges to mend, to rebuild, and they're going to need to start that pretty soon after the election. One thing to be optimistic about is hopefully they've learned a lot from these disruptive elections. And we have a lot of young people out there who have shown like huge cultural waves, whether it be Bernie Sanders, whether it be angry people voting for Trump. But there's no doubt that we could all benefit from some fresh blood in the next round of whatever happens in politics.
And I know I'm astounded by just the engagement. Everybody's engaged. People are talking on Facebook, sometimes unfriending friends because they might think a different way. But it's been a very active election on the voter side. What about campaign cash? What's happening there?
I think campaign cash is kind of locked up. I mean, Hillary's been spending about twice as much as Trump. She's airing 2-minute ads on television last night, which is pretty unprecedented, but she wants to make sure she wins this decisively so that there's not as much question. I mean, one thing that we can say a lot about Trump, but we've never seen him be a graceful loser in anything, so she wants to win with some decisiveness, and she's spending a lot of money to do that.
Thank you for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me.